Is a single salary really enough these days? From where I'm sitting, the answer is absolutely not. And if you're watching this video, you probably think the same way too. And that's why you're here to understand how you can use a portfolio career to increase your income and also find out how you can increase the amount of money that you get to keep each month. If you're a doctor in the UK, it's becoming painstakingly obvious that the profession is not what it used to be. It's a lack of autonomy, you don't really make much of an impact anymore, and you don't have the ability to decide where you are, where you want to be, where you can work from. We're pushed around the country, the bottlenecks are getting slimmer and slimmer. And if you do happen to be someone who's got a training number, or you do happen to be a consultant, guess what? The amount of money that you earn is not the same value anymore. If you live in a high cost of living city like I do in London or other cities around the world, and I know this because I speak to people from these cities, then your real term salary is reducing. If you're a doctor in the UK, between 2008 and 2023, your salary reduced in value by 25%. That is a quarter of your salary wiped off. And so this should really scare the head out of you. But if you believe you have more to offer than ticking boxes and following guidelines and policies, and believe that you have more impact to make in the world and want to get the most out of your skills, then you're in the right place. And in this video, I'm going to break down how I use the portfolio career to create a six-figure salary as a registrar by doing the opposite of what everyone else was doing, and what you can do now in order to break free from the limitations of having a sole employer and a sole salary that you really and truly have no real influence over. Traditional medicine and a fat pension is a thing of the past. So my question to you today is, what is actually holding you back from creating an additional income stream, doing something that you actually enjoy? I'm going to walk you through a simple set of systems that are repeatable and scalable to provide you with an extra source of income, an alternative income which develops your skills and uses what you already have without leaving medicine. If you haven't met before, nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Nix, and I help ambitious doctors like yourself create alternative sources of income outside of the NHS using systems that are repeatable and scalable, and I do it without you burning out. And all of this is centered around one big idea, and that idea is freedom. Time freedom, career freedom, financial freedom. And I run a community of doctors who share this ethos and share this big idea. Now, let me tell you who this is for and who this isn't for, so I don't waste your time, because I know doctors don't have much time because we're overworked and underpaid, and so I'll get straight to it. So this isn't for doctors who think money is evil. If you are someone who has a moral or conscious reason why you don't want to earn any extra money, this isn't for you. If you're not ready to take control of your future, again, it's not for you. Nobody's coming to save you. You've got to do some work. And if you want a get rich quick scheme, wrong place. There has to be value for value. And if you're happy with the NHS and you don't need any further clarity on your income or career path, then that's fine. It's not for you. Who this is for doctors who value their time above everything. You just want to stop swapping hours for income. You want to stop doing locum shifts every time you need some extra money. And if you want freedom to practice medicine on your terms, if you want to get crystal clear on your career strategy, then this is the right place. And if you're like me and you love simplicity, and you want a high profit, low maintenance income stream, you're in the right place. If you want to make a real impact or monetize your skills, or you love learning and innovating for yourselves, you just feel that spark has gone from medical school, from working those long hours, then this is for you. Like I said, I go by the name of Dr. Nix, and this is me. This is me. I graduated a few years ago now, over 10 years ago now, 12, 13 years, can't remember, it's been that long. And when I graduated from medical school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no idea what I wanted to do in my career. I didn't really understand the landscape. And I got my first paycheck and I was like, yeah, this isn't going to be enough. And so what I did was I started to locum, not as an F1. I did a few shifts as an F1, but mostly as an F2. I started to locum and I got tired. I just got really tired from locuming and locuming and locuming. And then I decided that, yeah, this is probably too much. But Then came along the 2016 strikes when I was trying to get into training. We were striking because of the changes that the government wanted to make with the junior doctor, as we were called at the time, contract. And at that point in time, it hit me. I really understood in a way that I can only explain as a realization that the system or the NHS doesn't care about me as an individual. And it's a system that I can never change. No matter how hard I work, if somebody works 10% and I work at 100%, we're going home with the same salary. And so I just realized that the system doesn't really reward loyalty. It doesn't reward innovation. And it's a system that is fixed and isn't going to change. And so at that point in time, I thought, I have a big decision to make. Am I staying in medicine or am I going? And if I stay, what is my strategy? And for me at the time, it made sense to stay because of my circumstances and to CCT. But I was very strategic about my career. And I decided at that point in time that I was going to do things that I enjoyed and I was going to get compensated for it. But I was going to carve my own career path because that was the only thing that I could actually control. I had no control over my pay. I had no control or limited control over where I was in the country. And I had no control over the system. I didn't even really have much impact on clinical work. Trained and I started working for Fulham Football Club because I enjoy football. And I enjoyed the environment and the variety that job gave me. And I also did that with sporting companies and with go-karting, with boxing and different sporting companies because I enjoy sports. But it didn't all start off well. I remember I tried to start an events company whilst being a doctor and it kind of fell flat on its face. It was fun. And the first few events that we had, I had a great time. But it was taking too much of my time and it wasn't giving me back what I needed from it. And so I had to shut it down. But I did learn from it. And the skills and the things that I learned from that failed business, I used to create and run a global music festival. So here I am in New York for our first festival in Central Park. Is a few years ago. And so I've developed my own portfolio career with doing multiple things that I enjoy. I'm a clinical editor at the BMJ. I'm a doctor at Fulham Football Club. I do run a micro education business, do coaching and mentoring. I'm into VCs and angel investing. I have a whole host of background in the business space and the commercial environment, which a lot of doctors don't have. Now, what's the big problem? The main problem with why doctors feel stuck is because the system has essentially changed. Doctors' work has just become taskified. The value of doctors in medicine has reduced because you can find people who can do the same work. Daniel Priestley says it best.
You don't get paid relative to how hard you work, and unfortunately, you don't even get paid relative to how much value you deliver. You get paid relative to how hard it is for people to find a suitable alternative who delivers the same result. I don't make the rules.
You don't get paid by how hard you work. You don't even get paid by the value you bring. You get paid by how replaceable you are. And doctors at the moment are being replaced. It's sad, but it's true. And like I said, the old system is gone. Go to medical school, specialize, work long hours, earn lots, and have a great pension doesn't exist anymore. Your pension age keeps moving year on year. When I started, the pension age was much younger than it is now, and it will probably be older by the time I quote unquote retire. If you're a junior doctor or medical student, the worst thing you can do is believe that you do not need to develop a skill outside of medicine. Tom, if you're watching this, you are absolutely right. I agree with you. Reliance on one income stream makes you highly vulnerable. One is just too close to zero. Back in 2016, when I was doing these doctor strikes and they brought in IR35, which meant we were taxed even more, meant that I had to reevaluate, because what kept happening was I would need more money, and so I'd work harder and locum more. I'd earn a bit more money, but then I'd spend more money, and then when I need more money again, I would go and work harder again and earn more, and I just ended up in this spiral of lack, and I was just chasing my tail. And so I started to think differently. Need career fulfillment and financial fulfillment. And most doctors feel this way too. We understand that actually medicine is a very fulfilling career, and it's quite rare to get that. But the financial fulfillment doesn't really match up with it. And so I started working with doctors one-to-one and coaching other doctors using the systems that I use for myself, because I realized that more and more doctors were needing this portfolio pathway, and there was no real clear plan for doctors in that position, because the old system, nobody's teaching us how to transition into the new system that we are in today. And so yes, if you're like Dr. Julianne, you follow this pathway and had an imposter syndrome, which most doctors do, we were able to break through that. And I used the system with her to be able to increase her income monthly. And there's this other doctor who was for 4 years trying to build something, but had no real guidance and didn't really know which steps to take until we worked one-on-one. So what do you need? What do you need in order to identify your skill and leverage that skill into something that is monetizable? Well, there are three currencies: time, knowledge, and money. And you need the other two to get you the one. If you need knowledge, you need time and money. If you need money, you need time and knowledge. If you need time, you need knowledge and money. There are many forms of income: active, passive, and scalable. And what you want to do is use your active income to become passive, and then you also want to have an alternative scalable income. And that's what we do in the portfolio pathway, which I'm going to break down to you. There are 4 main income levers. I've written the 3 here, but there are 4. But I want you to know that you are actually your biggest asset. So we use our money to get us to buy assets or to gain assets, but you are actually your biggest asset, and investing in yourself is the best thing that you can do for yourself. So there are 4 income levers, but I've combined 3 here in the pathway, which are career progression, capital investing, business, and consulting. And all of these have their own constraints, but working together in the portfolio pathway, you can use these 3 to increase an alternative income. If you continue doing shifts, more locum shifts, you just invest more and more time, and it's not really scalable. So you want something that is more scalable and less active. Less of you, more scale. So what is a portfolio career? If you don't know what it is by now, I'll just explain it to you briefly. It's just a mixture of income streams. So not just traditional clinical medicine. There are other things that you can do outside of clinical medicine to increase and scale your income. But who is it for? And who comes into the portfolio pathway? Well, the traditional doctor, the old doctor, is out. And that doctor feels stuck in one single career, doesn't know where to start when it comes to diversifying income, thinks they need to quit medicine entirely. You don't need to quit medicine entirely. Feels overwhelmed with business ideas, jumps from one thing to the other, ends up in MLM schemes, or ends up doing surveys all day, and thinks like an employee. But the portfolio doctor is completely different. If you go through this pathway, which is a simple system that I'm going to explain to you, you will have a strong financial footing. You'll be able to leverage your current skill set. You will be able to know how to increase your income when required. And you will think like a leveraged professional, like an asset rather than employee. And what I use here is a portfolio pathway to build high income autonomy. And how that works is using a simple one system. Call it SOS. You use one core skill, and you use that skill to create one core offer. And then you scale that offer into one system. Simple. One skill, one offer, one system. But nothing exists in silos. Everything is part of an ecosystem. And even you as an asset will be part of an ecosystem. And you just need to understand that system. Some of you might think, oh, I don't really have the skills required for this. Well, every doctor has the skills for a portfolio career because it depends on your unique advantage. But the 3 main things and the 3 main steps that you want to get clear are, or the 3 main steps that you will need. Number 1, clarity. That is the biggest step that I see. A lot of doctors are just not clear on what their unfair advantage is, what they want to do, where they want to be, and what they actually want from life. So we will get you super clear using this pathway. And after we have clarity on the strategy for your career and your finances, we will then move on to getting you credible, improving your craft, and then eventually the capital, which is the money. And the money that shows us, that makes things even clearer with what we should be doing with our time, makes us even more credible because we double down on the time that we invest, and our craft increases and we get even more money. So this is the flywheel here that helps with the portfolio pathway. So clarity is super important, and that's the first thing that we do within the portfolio pathway, getting clear on your expertise. Now, a lot of people will say, I don't have the time for this. Well, that's exactly why you need to do it, because you don't have time, because you're working so hard all the time. And if you eventually want to not be working as hard, you have to put the steps in place beforehand. And like I said, 1 in 2 doctors are planning to leave medicine. And so if you stay behind and don't do anything to increase your skills, like Dr. Parrott has said, then when you do decide to leave, or you do decide to add an additional source of income, you're going to be behind. You're going to be behind all the other doctors who started before you. You don't want to get behind. You want to keep up with the pace. That's what happened to Blockbuster when Netflix came on, and when Netflix offered Blockbuster to buy them, and they said, no, we're fine. And where's Blockbuster today? So you've got to roll with the times. And what is an unfair advantage? Well, I think it's self-explanatory. If you look at this lever, if you remember your GCSE or A-level physics, you have a lever, you have this weight, which is your career and financial freedom. And your medical expertise is what we're going to leverage on using the portfolio career. Sorry, the medical expertise is your fulcrum, and the portfolio career, consulting, medical writing, whatever you use, is what we will leverage on to move this weight. So within the portfolio pathway, again, we get very clear on your leverage, what your highest impact skill is, and we use that skill to create an offer and then scale that offer so that you can have capital and you can have income. And there are 4 main types of people that I've come across in my coaching so far and in my consulting and the micro-educating business that I run. You have the educator, the creator, consultant, and the investor. And if you're an entrepreneur, you'll probably touch on all 4 of them. Now, a problem that I see often is that people are too close to the mountain to appreciate the mountain, so you might not appreciate the skills that you have. And that's where I come in. And if I'm being honest, what I see and what I predict over the next sort of 4, 5, 10 years, is that you're going to see more doctors online. If you've noticed that trend, they are coming online because the world is becoming digital. And so personal branding is a key part of this. And the creator economy is booming, right? And a personal brand is something that you already have. There is a reason that people go to Harvard University. There's a reason you go to Cambridge. And it's not just because of their history, or it's not because they have good books. It is because it adds to your personal brand. It adds to your CV. As a doctor, you have a personal brand already, but that personal brand is just moving digitally. And the creator economy is booming, and it's going to continue to boom, and more doctors are going to come online. So like I said, if I break it down, it comes to 3 things. Step 1, discover your unfair advantage. Step 2, get credible. Step 3, get scalable. Now, I get asked this all the time. Can I do this as an introvert? Of course you can. Introverts, extroverts, everyone can do it because you have a unique unfair advantage, which we will discover within the portfolio pathway. So what is the portfolio pathway? Like I said, we identify one simple skill, and that translates into one profitable offer. And then you become the authority on that offer, and you scale, and then you reinvent that skill, or you re-hone that skill, and then your offer changes, and then your authority grows, and then you scale. Okay, so how do I work with people? Well, using the portfolio pathway, which I've used myself by identifying skills that I'm good at, creating offers and scaling it, you can work with me in that same way. Now, you've got 2 options. One, you can keep doing what you've always done, stay in the same position, or you can take the first steps towards financial independence and career freedom. And if you're serious about financial freedom and career freedom, then this is your moment. I have created a flagship course, which is the portfolio launch, which is a 16-week program where I will personally guide you through each step of launching a high impact, high income portfolio career. Now, some of you will say, oh no, this is too early for me. I don't even know what I want to do. Well, that is phase 0. And if you haven't got to the point where you want to launch a portfolio career, that's perfect, because we need to get clear, or you need to get clarity on what you want from your career and what you want from your finances. And that is part of what I do. So for phase 0, we financially map where you're at. where you want to get to. We then hone down and get super clear on your skill, super clear on your offer, and super clear on what we're going to scale. Now, this is the same system that I have used from being stuck and feeling like the NHS was just, not for me, and having a fulfilling clinical medical career, because I know that if push comes to shove, I have the option to walk away. It makes it so much easier to come into work that way. So here's what to do next. It's the simplest and most direct way to see if this is something that can work for you. Just send me a message saying I'm in, and we'll book a free call to discuss where you're at and where you're trying to get to, and see if you can use the same system to get you unstuck and earning more money, and with an alternative career doing things that you like to do. I do have an inner circle of mentorship or mentees that I mentor one-on-one exclusively. And if that's something for you, and if you're really serious, then again, send that application, send me a message saying I'm in, join the inner circle for one-to-one mentorship. If you're like Dr. Freya, who was unsure of her career path and became clear using the portfolio pathway, then send me a message saying you're in.